Okay, it is Monday, March 30th. It's about 8 in the morning. We are now doing the Skull Mesa from the east hike. And we started down there in the valley. And there's Denise. We are on the Skunk Creek Trail. And we'll hike on here for about 3 miles. And then we'll do the Quien Sabe trail, sorry. And we'll be doing that for about 2 miles. And then we'll hit the Skull Mesa trail and do that for another 2 miles. Then we should be at our destination. I also wanted to mention that you get a good viewpoint here of where we started. I'm gonna try to zoom in. And like down in that valley, is the trailhead somewhere like maybe right in the center of this image here. And then you can see the road, the dirt road that we came up on, and now we're up here. So we're making good progress. All right, this Quien Sabe Spring Creek does have water. Okay, it's about 9:30 in the morning, 3.7 miles in. We have hit a nice little vista point. We're at the junction of the Quien Sabe Trail 250. Skull Mesa is where we're headed, so we're going to be going up that trail. So far, that looks pretty good, but they say this trail gets primitive in a hurry. 3.7 miles in. We're about 2 hours in, so we're right on schedule here. Into the Quien Sabe Trail. It is well defined. We just hit a spot where there wasn't really groomed at all. Now we're following a dirt road, so they say this is primitive, but this is actually great. This trail is gonna take us right at the front doorstep of Skull Mesa, and we have about another 1.5 miles, 1.75 to go. Okay, it's about approaching 10:30. We have just come up and over the ridge. We're 1.3 miles from that junction, the Quien Sabe and Skunk Creek Trail. That is Skull Mesa we're looking at. You get a good shot of it. If I pan over here, that mountain that you see at 12 o'clock, kind of down there in the middle there, that's Black Mountain. That's the mountain I typically hike from the valley floor, and that's 1,000 feet. Skull Mesa sits, the top here is about 4,400 feet. We're actually at about 4,400 feet, but we have to drop down into that saddle there on the left of the mesa, and then we have to go up on the left side of that mesa. You can see how steep it is. And then we will hike from this side of the mesa to the west side of the mesa. So we're gonna go from the northwest corner of the mesa to the southwest corner of the mesa. At 12 o'clock here, you can see the end of the mesa. That's where we believe the Indian ruins are, and we can see why they would be there, because the river is just down below to the right. And I don't know how you get down there, but I'm sure they have figured a way through all the years. Okay, it's 10:35 now. I'm videotaping this. As I said, that the road was not as primitive as we thought it would be. And it's because we think they brought cattle up here, the ranchers or somebody, and this was all bulldozed recently here. This is the pasture in which we believe they were here for some extra grass, but this is as far as the cattle needed to come. Suddenly, we begin to realize how primitive this trail is, because as you can see, it looks like Denise is just walking randomly in this high desert here. But this is the point where we have to keep our eyes peeled to the ground. Make sure we can see there's a worn path here. Not a whole lot of hikers here. Oh, by the way, we are now 3 hours into the hike, and still no hikers of any kind. I just love these wildflowers here. Can you get a good look at that? Okay, sorry. I was distracted. Okay. As we're going down this highly developed trail, that's sarcasm, you begin to really either trust GPS, which Denise and I do, or you trust the Karen, which Denise does not. But both of them are pointing that we're on the trail, on this very undefined trail. We have a decision to make. This is 4.5 hours into the hike that the Quien Sabe peak. We went around it, but we did not go up that peak because we're going up that mesa. That's Skull Mesa. We are very close, maybe within, I would say, 300-400 feet elevation climb just to get up there. We're at the junction, the Quien Sabe Cottonwood, Quien Sabe Skull Mesa Trail, and you see the arrow that points straight forward? We're not going there, we're going left, Skull Mesa Trail 24. So we're gonna go wind up there, and then we're gonna go straight west to the other side. So I'll pick this up again on the top. Oh, by the way, 4.5 hours in. People count at this point, after hiking 6 miles or 6.1 miles, 0 people, 0. Okay, this is our final ascent up to there. Trail is faint, but recognizable, navigable, doable. At some point, we are committed to this. I think we are committed. Otherwise, we have to go back to where we came from, which is way on the other side of that Quien Sabe peak there. So we're going to stay the course. Neither of us has done this trail before on this side. I've done Skull Mesa from the other side, but not this side. And we are close. Okay, we are now about 5.5 hours into this hike. We are now on the mesa. But now we have a kind of a new problem here, and that is there is no trail up here. You just walk along this mesa, for us, in the northwesterly direction. But what we're trying to avoid here, you see Denise is tapping her poles in front of her. Make sure there's no rattlesnakes hiding behind the crevices of the rocks or slithering in the grass. Right now the grass is pretty thin here, but some sections is pretty thick. And we read report there are a lot of snakes up here. So far we haven't seen one. Denise thinks she might have heard one. Okay, I lost a little track of time for a while there, but we're still on the mesa, and we will be on here for a while. We're 7.3 miles into the hike, and we are trying to still get to the south side of this mesa, but we have to watch our step. A lot of cacti, a lot of tall grass, but we have our GPS working, so we have an idea of which direction we want to go. It is about 1:30. We have to get to the other side of this mesa by 3 o'clock if we want to get down by dark, because I allow 3 hours from there to the Spur cross. So we have an hour and a half to kind of get our way to that other side, that end of the mesa. And I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, we're at 6 hours and 50 minutes. We're still on the mesa. But now we finally see what resembles a trail and cairns. See that? The Cairn of Hope. And there's another one Denise just passed. So we're going much faster now. We were really doing a slow crawl there for a while, but we're gaining momentum. I'm gonna just circle around so you can see the entire mesa from the, we're somewhere in the middle of it, but we're making good progress now. Heading due southwest, which is the other side, an exit point, and from there it's a more defined trail because it's the more popular side of Skull Mesa. But here is, we're approaching 7 hours into this hike. The people count, still 0. We have not seen anybody, just the two of us out here. And yes, we have headlamps, so it gets dark around 6:37, but I think we're still good. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. We still got, I think, maybe 30 minutes to spare. We'll keep you posted. Over 7 hours of hiking. we ran into our first hikers. I'm filming you because you're the first hikers we've seen in 7 hours of being up here.
Where have you been? Well, we started at Seven Springs. Oh, you took that trail. Yeah.
Okay, we made it. We are on this southwest edge of the mesa. We can't go any further, but you get an idea how steep it is down there. But we made it. We made it from behind me there. About 2 miles. It feels like 2 miles that way. It's probably only 1 mile, but it took us 2 hours to get up from that side of the mesa to this side. But we did it. And so what you see down there is, it's hard, I'm trying to point, but right behind me is Black Mountain. Denise pointed Black Mountain. That one. Yes. That's Black Mountain, straight over the Denise's head. And beyond Black Mountain, if we look way beyond there, it's just Phoenix is down there. Trust me on that one. You can't see it from here, but we can see it. So, okay, well, we made it. It is, Denise, what time is it?
2:40.
2:40. This way, we know how we get down from here. And we have about 3 hours of hiking, so we'll make it with plenty of light left. I want to just show also that's the southern edge of the mesa as you head east. So I love it up here. I think Denise is ready to call this a day, right?
Yes, I've had enough.
You had enough.
I don't like bushwhacking.
She did not like that. I don't think we were going to do this particular path again. So, okay. See ya. South slope here. This is one of my favorite parts about this hike is after hiking up from the valley down below, now we get this wonderful view coming down. Now this is the part of the trail I've been to a couple of times, so this will be much easier to get through. This is Denise's first time coming down here. I'll just shut up for a second and just pan around.
Lots of sticky stuff.
Uh-oh. Like Denise got poked. Did you get poked? You want me to beat up the cactus for you? I gotta watch my step here.
Ow.
That looks nasty. Why didn't you pull that? Okay. My wife had a little slippage there.
Neil, you're not seriously videoing this, are you?
Well, it is a part of the story.
Neil, you're gonna piss me off.
It's approaching 5:15 now, and we're still trying to get off the Skull Mesa trail. There's the Skull Mesa up there. Poor Denise, she sprained her ankle. We have the very top left there in that saddle where the plateau, you can't see it anymore. She kind of sprained it in there. And then she had to kind of switch back down here very slowly. That's her right there. And we still have about 5 1/4 miles to go before hit the car. It's just slow going in here, but as you can see, it levels out kind of there, and we're gonna kind of go off to the right over here, and it'll be rolling hill back to the car after we get down off this steep section, which we're almost down at this point. So hopefully we'll pick up some distance here. But we got our headlamps ready, and Looks like we're gonna have to pull them out here shortly. Okay, it is now 7:15 and it's getting pretty dark. Beautiful sunset though. And Denise is doing better. We rewrapped it with duct tape this time. Trail's a little better. And she goes a little bit better. So that video that you just saw, you now know that Denise had a fall pretty close to the top of Skull Mesa. The fall occurred around 3:30, and it took until about 1 o'clock.
1 a.m.
1 a.m. in the morning before we finally reached our car at the end of the trail. It was 6 miles. It was pretty gnarly terrain. We were pretty isolated out there, as you could tell.
5 creek crossings.
5 creek crossings that came to our knees or thighs.
Right.
And that occurred around midnight, and that's where it really started getting cold. So Denise found out this morning exactly what happened to her leg as a result of that fall.
I have a closed distal fracture of the fibula, and I also ripped quite a few ligaments. So I will be having surgery on Monday to repair the damage so that my ankle will be nice and strong, and my doctor said I can be hiking in 3 months with an ankle as good as new. So that's what I'm hoping for.
One of the things that got us through this hike, besides her grit and determination to get through, at the time we thought it was a sprained ankle, but I think she knew there was something more. I wanted to call search and rescue.
No search and rescue.
No, and why did you not believe in search and rescue?
Because if you can walk out, you walk out.
And
That's what you do.
And that she did. So one of the things that really got us through this is her preparedness, because she does all these through hikes. So we wanted to just pan out a bit, and she's going to just kind of walk through. This is like the day pack that I had for it. Day pack. What goes into the day pack? What did we actually use that night that really came into play? Because we were anticipating being done like at 4 in the afternoon, and it turned out to be 1 a.m. that morning. So she's just gonna walk through some of the stuff we had.
So the first thing we had was our first aid kit, which had a gauze bandage in it. Instead of a gauze bandage, you should have a tensor wrap. That's better. We ended up taking the gauze bandage and using duct tape, which is wrapped around our hiking poles. That's a great place to put it. You see it's wrapped right here. And of course, I was glad I had these poles because they basically were my crutches all the way through. We also had a battery pack. We each had a battery pack that was used to be able to charge our phone, and also the extra lights that we had. We had a really great flashlight, which it's a good thing Neil had this, because even though I had a headlamp and I had extra batteries for this headlamp ended up not working at all. So we're gonna find out why, but luckily we had Neil's flashlight and he had an additional light. Had a ton of water. We each had 4 liters, which is a lot to carry, but in the desert, you don't know when you're gonna have water. If we had run out of water, luckily at the creek, I had my water filter. We could have gotten more water, but always good in the desert to have tons of water. We also had lots of extra food and snacks, which we ended up eating all of those because you get really tired and exhausted when you're hiking for 17 hours. Then we had our Garmin InReach because there was no cell service, and this is what we used to communicate with our emergency contact and our families to keep them apprised of what our progress was and to keep them from worrying. We also had our cell phone, which had our GPS map on it that we were able to follow. And then we also had our map with us in case our phone didn't work. And I also had a little mini manual compass that I keep with me. If we'd had to spend the night, we had lighters to be able to make a fire if we needed to. Always carry a knife because you never know when you're going to need it. We ended up having to cut off my gauze so that we could put the duct tape on. And then we also carry 2 emergency bivvies because at one point during the night, Neil said we should just hunker down and wait for daylight. And I said no, opted to not do that. Lots of cables too. Don't forget your cables because your chargers are useless without that. And the other thing we had is we had our layers. So we each had our rain wind jacket, which will keep you really warm. We each had an extra layer. The one thing we didn't have that I will not go without from now on is I always usually have a beanie and a pair of gloves in my backpack, but I thought it was going to be too warm for that. It gets very cold at night, so I will never not have those again. And I will also throw in an extra pair of socks because if we had spent the night, it would have been not good with our feet being wet from all the creek crossings. So it would have been good to be able to put on dry socks. So being prepared is sometimes maybe seems like it's overkill until you need to use it. So for all my friends that do day hiking, please make sure you have everything you need, even if it's only a 2-mile hike, because you just never know.
Well, it's all